Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Do you want to be on today's show?
I would love to.
All right, let's do it. Google's Project Zero releases information on a long-running watering hole campaign against iPhone users. A dental record backup service is hit by ransomware, and the decryptor the extortionists gave them may not work. Huawei could be in fresh legal hot water over alleged IP theft. Cryptojacking charges are added to those the accused Capital One hacker faces. We take a look at back-to-school cybersecurity with preteen friends and family. And we say farewell to a Bletchley Park veteran. It's time to take a moment to tell you about our sponsor, Recorded Future. If you haven't already done so, take a look at Recorded Future's Cyber Daily. We look at it, the CyberWire staff subscribes and consults it daily. The web is rich with indicators and warnings, but it's nearly impossible to collect them by eyeballing the internet yourself, no matter how many analysts you might have on staff. And we're betting that however many you haven't got enough. Recorded Future does the hard work for you by automatically collecting and organizing the entire web to identify new vulnerabilities and emerging threat indicators. Sign up for the Cyber Daily email to get the top trending technical indicators crossing the web, cyber news, targeted industries, threat actors, exploited vulnerabilities, malware, suspicious IP addresses, and much more. Subscribe today and stay ahead of the cyber attacks. Go to recordedfuture.com/cyberwire to subscribe for free threat intelligence updates from Recorded Future. That's recordedfuture.com/cyberwire. And we thank Recorded Future for sponsoring our show. Funding for this CyberWire podcast is made possible in part by BugCrowd, connecting organizations with the top security researchers, pen testers, and white hat hackers in the world to identify 10 times more vulnerabilities than scanners or traditional pen tests. Learn more about how their award-winning platform provides actionable insights like remediation advice to help fix faster, while methodology-driven assessments ensure compliance needs are met at bugcrowd.com. From the CyberWire studios at Data Tribe, I'm Dave Bittner with your CyberWire summary for Friday, August 30th, 2019. Google's Project Zero has released details of its research into a quiet, sustained watering hole campaign against iPhone users. They found 5 distinct exploit chains in use by the attackers. Google's blog says, quote, "There was no target discrimination. Simply visiting the hacked site was enough for the exploit server to attack your device, and if it was successful, install a monitoring implant. We estimate that these sites received thousands of visitors per week." End quote. It's worth noting that indiscriminate isn't to be insisted on too broadly. The watering hole campaign was indiscriminate, but within the communities it targeted. The report says little about who those communities might be, but their closing advice to be alert for campaigns targeting you as a member of given ethnic community or a resident of a certain geographical area suggests the sort of bounds within which the attackers operated. They appear to have had particular groups in mind. Apple patched the zero-day vulnerability the campaign exploited in February. Google notes that this single campaign probably represents the proverbial tip of the iceberg. That Google found it at all, the researchers say, was a fail on the attacker's part. There are probably other campaigns, Mountain View says, that remain undetected. PercySoft, cloud provider for the digital dental record and a widely used backup data repository for the U.S. dental profession, has sustained a ransomware attack. PercySoft is believed to have paid the ransom to obtain a decryptor, but there are reports the decryptor hasn't been fully successful. The ransomware strain involved appears to be R-Evil, also known as Sodinokibi. The Wall Street Journal reports in an exclusive that U.S. federal prosecutors are investigating Huawei for alleged intellectual property theft. The investigation includes at least one subpoena from the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, and this suggests to the Journal that the inquiry is looking into some hitherto unexamined case of IP theft. Huawei, which has denied that it steals intellectual property for almost as long as it's been suspected of doing so, is currently fighting a case in a Seattle court that alleges the company illicitly obtained details of T-Mobile test equipment. Who the alleged victims in the present investigation may be remains unknown, and the U.S. Department of Justice is remaining tight-lipped. But the Journal does say that the FBI has interviewed a Portuguese national who's complained that digital imaging technology he developed had been misappropriated by Huawei. Cryptojacking charges have been added to those accused Capital One hacker Paige Thompson faces. An additional indictment was filed Wednesday, Info Security Magazine reports. The new indictment does include some newly identified victims of the alleged crimes: a state agency outside the state of Washington, a telecommunications conglomerate outside the United States, and a public research university outside the state of Washington. All told, the indictment alleges that the victims were Capital One and 30 unnamed others. The Cryptojacking, which produces altcoin, also provides a rational criminal motive for the alleged crime. There seems to be no such rational purpose to the data theft that Capital One sustained. CSO Magazine interviews several experts who point out the difficulty of preparing defenses against a hacker who works without a rationally discernible motive. John McCallany, a psychologist at Bournemouth University with an interest in the psychology of crime, hacking, and hacktivism, pointed out to CSO that many cyber attacks are indeed random and motiveless. The hacker may come up with a personal, political, or criminal reason for their activity, but these can often be retrospective and have nothing to do with their actions. Apple has responded to privacy concerns over its recording of Siri interactions by deciding to disable recording and storage by default. This autumn, users will be given the option of turning it on, Ars Technica reports, should they be interested in helping train the AI. And finally, this week, the security and cryptological communities remember a Bletchley Park veteran. The Royal Gazette reports that Pamela Darrell, born in Rutland but making her home in Bermuda, has died at the age of 93. Mrs. Darrell joined the Wrens during the Second World War when she was just 17. She hoped, she'd said, that the Women's Royal Naval Service would send her to sea. Instead, they sent her to Bletchley Park, which, while not Topeka or Chelyabinsk, is by English standards about as landlocked as they come. She served there throughout the war, breaking German codes. Her work remained secret for decades. She was only able to tell her husband about her service when classification of wartime activities was relaxed in the 1970s. So, hail and farewell, Mrs. Darrell, and spare a thought and some conversation for the Second World War generation. We won't have them with us for much longer. Now it's time for a few words from our sponsor, BlackBerry Cylance. You probably know all about legacy antivirus protection. It's very good as far as it goes. But you know what? The bad guys know all about it too. It will stop the skids, but to keep the savvier hoods hands off your endpoints, BlackBerry Cylance thinks you need something better. Check out the latest version of Cylance Optics. It turns every endpoint into its own security operations center. Cylance Optics deploys algorithms formed by machine learning to offer not only immediate protection, but security that's quick enough to keep up with the threat by watching, learning, and acting on systems behavior and resources. Whether you're worried about advanced malware, commodity hacking, or malicious insiders, Cylance Optics can help. Visit Cylance.com to learn more, and we thank BlackBerry Cylance for sponsoring our show. And I'm pleased to be joined once again by Emily Wilson. She's the VP of Research at Terbium Labs. Emily, we are coming up here on that time of year when it's time for kids to head on back to school, and that provides some opportunities for folks who may not be up to any good to try to take advantage of them.
This is a fantastic time of the year for cyber criminals. Of course, if you're a cyber criminal, if you're a fraudster, you love things like the Christmas shopping season. The back to school period is also just a really great time, unfortunately, for these cyber criminals to work out all sorts of schemes and collect all kinds of data. There are a few different ways that this is problematic. One, you have these kids who are going off to school. I'm thinking here specifically about college freshmen. You think about the number of emails that you get, the number of links you're sent, the number of places you need to enter your data for housing and for orientation, for clubs and career fairs, right? So there's a lot of different places there for people to be collecting data to questionably secure systems, and also a ton of opportunities for phishing, Right? If you're a college freshman and you have your college email address for the first time and you get something, hey, free pizza, come click here and put in your information, of course you're going to click it. Everyone loves free pizza. It's your first time at school. So that's really exciting for people. That's sort of on the data side. On the other side, on sort of the financial fraud side, we have big ticket purchases here. Maybe stuff for a dorm room, maybe you're getting a car for the first time, certainly for electronics. There are a lot of opportunities here, again, to phish people or to collect data, or opportunities to sneak fraudulent purchases in under the radar. You think about normal spending patterns, right? We've talked about how during the holiday season, it might not be normal for you to make 5 Amazon purchases in an hour and ship them to 3 different addresses, but a week before Christmas, you might do that. Same thing with the back to school period. It might not be typical to go and spend a lot of money at the Apple store or to make 5 trips to Target or what have you, but you might do that in the middle of August. If you're moving, you might see charges out of state depending on what sort of school you're going to. And so there's all of these questions here where, is it traditional spending? Is somebody taking their kid to school? Is it a fraudster? How would you know? When do you pull the trigger? Fraudsters love that. They love that uncertainty.
Yeah, I can imagine too. There's probably a lot of folks who those bills get sent home to mom and dad. They may see purchases in the school bookstore or the local IKEA or something like that and not think twice about it.
That's definitely a great example. You have parents who are just going to say, wow, they spent a lot of money this month, but you only go to college once. Or, for students on the other side, this might be the first time that some of these kids have financial independence. It might be the first time that they have a credit card. It's certainly, the first time that they might be getting inundated with credit card offers. How many of those are getting intercepted? How many of those are legitimate? If you get an email saying, hey, you need to finish setting up your new credit card, click here and enter your information and verify your card number for us. As a college freshman, how much do you know about any of this? When do you know to be suspicious when it is a time of your life where a lot of people are looking for a lot of sensitive data? It's a difficult position.
No, it's an interesting insight. Emily Wilson, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
And now a word from our sponsor, ExtraHop, the enterprise cyber analytics company delivering security from the inside out. The cloud helps your organization move fast, but hybrid isn't easy, especially for security teams already dealing with alert fatigue, tool sprawl, and legacy workflows. Teams without unified policies and cloud-native threat detection have no easy way to spot misconfigurations or attackers who have breached an increasingly vulnerable perimeter. ExtraHop Reveal X provides cloud-native network detection and response for the hybrid enterprise. With complete visibility, real-time detection, and guided investigation, Reveal X helps you secure and support your business in the cloud and on the ground. Learn more at extrahop.com/cyber. That's extrahop.com/cyber. And we thank ExtraHop for sponsoring our show. And joining me today on our CyberWire show is our extra special guest all the way from Lake Elkhorn Middle School in Columbia, Maryland, Jack Bittner.
Hello.
Jack, welcome back to the show. We brought you back because we've had several listeners write in and say, when's Jack coming back?
Well, here I am.
Here you are, ready for back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 7th grade.
7th grade. Very exciting. School starts next week.
Right.
So I wanted to touch base with you and learn about how you and your friends think about and handle your cybersecurity issues. So let's just start off with just some really basic stuff here. When you think about cybersecurity, what kind of stuff do you think about?
I'd say passwords, online accounts, keeping your online information safe.
Mm-hmm. How about privacy?
Yeah, privacy. So, not saying your real name online. That's a rule that me and my friends use a lot. We're playing video games together.
Why is that?
Just because, better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
You don't want people knowing your name and where you live.
Yeah. Do you ever have any issues with that? Have you ever had people come and be a bully or be creepy on any online gaming things?
Not really.
Yeah,
No.
that's good.
We're pretty safe.
That's good. So let's walk through some of those things together. In terms of passwords, how do you come at your password security?
Usually I custom make something for which site I'm on. So if it's Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or Xbox, have a different password for each.
Okay, so you don't reuse passwords.
Yes.
Very good, very good. That's my boy.
Never share your password.
Never share your password, right? All right, excellent. Let's talk some about school.
Okay.
Your school has computer lab.
Right, yes.
What kind of security is set up there?
Well, you log in with your username and password.
Which are set by the school?
Yes.
Okay.
So the school gives out username and passwords for everybody. And then usually we use sites like Canvas, which help us with organize our school things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have username and passwords for those.
Now, do you have access to the internet on the computers in the lab?
Yeah.
And is that restricted?
It might be. I wouldn't know. But
Well, you've seen your friends. I guess what I'm getting at is, do kids at school figure out workarounds to get past any of the security things at school?
I wouldn't say that there are a lot of security blockers at school. I think a lot of kids at school are smart, and they know that if they are, doing something that they are not supposed to on the school computers, that they'll get caught by one of the teachers. And the teachers are good with letting us know what we're supposed to be on and what we're not supposed to be on.
How does that happen?
They just kind of enforce it.
Yeah. So what about at home? When you're using the computer, we have a family computer that we use for your homework.
Right.
You recently got handed down a Chromebook.
Right.
You use that.
Right.
How do you approach your security with those devices?
Same thing, username, password, keep everything safe.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I use the family computer for homework and research and stuff. I use my laptop for playing games, and not just games, but, if I need to write a paper or do some research on the laptop, I'll do it on there too.
Do you have any friends who've had any issues with cybersecurity, of getting their devices hacked or things like that?
Yeah, some kids at school with their Instagram accounts, the classic get free followers by clicking this link.
Oh.
And so, they give their username and password out, and then they get their account hacked.
I see.
So there has been a couple instances of that at school, but not to me.
What about on your phone? You have a mobile device.
Right.
What do you do to keep that safe and sound?
Always keep it on you.
Yep.
I don't really give it out to people unless I know them. But I don't really even give it out, If I just need to show somebody something on my phone, I can let them see something, but...
You show it to them, but don't hand it to them necessarily?
Well, yeah,
Depends on who it is.
Right, yeah. And, I have a password on my phone. Haven't given it to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever lost your phone?
Yes, I have lost my phone, actually, a couple times. But I've found it.
Okay. You've gotten it back safe and sound.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What about your friends? I mean, overall, do you think your friends are doing a good job with this stuff? Do you think, I guess my question is, do you think kids today are up on the basics and know how to keep themselves safe?
Yeah, I do, because I think that we live in a very cyber world, and everybody's on their phones a lot or on the internet. So I think kids really understand how to keep their things safe.
So what would your advice be for parents who are sending their kids off to school? What do you think the best approach is for parents to educate their kids and handle these things in a way that the kids are going to respond to?
I think that teaching kids about passwords and keeping their privacy safe online, and, like I talked about before, not giving your personal information out online, which I think it should be a given with online things, because, well, I think, kids are smart, and I think they know not to give out personal information like that could lead to no good.
Do you think the kids today are better at this than their parents?
Some of them, but, people like me, my dad is a cybersecurity master. And so, but I think a lot of them are because, kids are, stereotype goes stuck in their phones all the time.
Yeah.
Which is true sometimes, but I think they just have a lot more experience with that type of stuff than some of their parents do.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jack, good luck to you with this year's school year, and stay safe out there.
Thank you.
And that's the CyberWire. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making the CyberWire possible, especially our supporting sponsor, Observit, the leading insider threat management platform. Learn more at observit.com. Don't forget to check out the Grumpy Old Geeks podcast, where I contribute to a regular segment called Security Ha! I join Jason and Brian on their show for a lively discussion of the latest security news every week. You can find Grumpy Old Geeks where all the fine podcasts are listed. And check out the Recorded Future podcast, which I also host. The subject there is threat intelligence, and every week we talk to interesting people about timely cybersecurity topics. That's at recordedfuture.com/podcast. The CyberWire podcast is proudly produced in Maryland out of the startup studios of Data Tribe, where they're co-building the next generation of cybersecurity teams and technology. Our amazing CyberWire team is Stefan Vaziri, Tamika Smith, Kelsey Bond, Tim Nodar, Joe Kerrigan, Carol Terrio, Nick Valecki, Bennett Moe, Chris Russell, John Petrick, Jennifer Iben, Peter Kilpie, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.